Journey to the West in Vernacular Chapter 17. The Dragon Prince Haihe fights the demon. After walking for more than a month, one day I suddenly heard the sound of running water and saw a huge river in front of me. The black water and the river collided with each other, rolling up waves. When the masters and disciples were worried about not being able to cross the river, they suddenly saw a man driving a small boat down the river. Tang Monk quickly asked Sha Monk to call the boat to the shore. The man rowed the boat to the shore and said, "My boat is small, and I can't carry you all across at once." Tang Monk saw that the boat was really small, so he had to cross the river into times. Bajie said, "Master, and I will go through first, followed by junior brother and the luggage and horses. Brother Monkey can jump over by himself." After the discussion, Bajie helped Tang Monk get on the boat. When the boat reached the middle of the river, suddenly there was a strong wind and rough waves. The boat was like a leaf in the huge waves, appearing and disappearing. After a while, the sea was calm, but the boat was nowhere to be seen. Sha Monk wanted to go downstream to find his master. Wukong said, "If the boat capsized, Bajie would have been so good at water. He should have carried the master up long ago." Wukong believed that master and Bajie were dragged into the water by monsters. The monk thought it was reasonable, so he went into the water to save the master. He jumped into the water, recited the water-avoiding mantra, and strode towards the bottom of the water. Not long after walking, the Haishihe mansion in Henjiang Valley appeared in front of us. Sha Monk was secretly hiding outside the house and heard someone inside saying, "Bring up the steamer and steam those to monks. As for you, go and invite my uncle." Upon hearing this, Sha Monk became furious and raised his magic wand. While knocking on the door, he shouted, "Let my master and brother come out quickly." The little demon guarding the door quickly ran back to report to the old demon. When the old demon heard this, he became angry, walked out of the door with a steel whip in his hand, and asked loudly, "Who dares to knock on my door?" Sha Seng asked him to let the master go quickly, but the monster actually wanted to grab a piece of Sha Seng and eat him. The two men started fighting underwater, and they still couldn't decide the outcome for more than 30 rounds. Sha Monk decided to lure the monster out of the water and ask Wukong to beat him. Sha Seng pretended to be defeated, but the monster did not pursue him and returned home. Sha Monk had no choice but to jump out of the water and tell Wukong what happened underwater. "Who is this monster's uncle?" Wukong said to himself. Unexpectedly, before he finished speaking, the Blackwater River God walked out of the small ditch next to him and bowed his head when he saw Wukong. The river god told Wukong, "The monster came to Haihe from the West Sea during the high tide last year. He used force to occupy the Haishui River God's mansion in Henjiang Valley. I am old and frail, and cannot defeat the monster, so I went to the West Sea to sue him. Who knows? Ao Shun, the Dragon King of the West Sea, is his uncle, and I am not allowed to file a complaint. I want to complain to the Jade Emperor, but because my official position is too low, I cannot see the Jade Emperor." After hearing this, Wukong decided to go find the Dragon King of the West Sea. He somersaulted to the West Sea, recited the water-avoiding spell, and walked into the water. Suddenly, he saw a black water fish spirit running past him with a gold box. He knew in his heart that it came from the Black Water River, so he beat the black water fish spirit to death with a stick. Wukong opened the box and saw an invitation from the monster inviting Ao Shun to eat Tang Monk's meat. Wukong quickly put the invitation into his arms and said proudly, Ao Shun, did I, son, get the evidence?" At this time, Yasha, who was already patrolling, reported the news of Wukong's arrival to the Dragon King of the West Sea. The Dragon King led the shrimp soldiers and crab generals out of the palace to greet them. The Dragon King invited Wukong to drink tea in the Crystal Palace. Wukong took out the invitation and handed it to the Dragon King and said, "I don't want to drink your tea. I'm here to drink your wine." The Dragon King was shocked when he saw it, and hurriedly knelt down to apologize to Wukong. It turned out that the monster was Ao Shun's 9th nephew, Zhao Long. His parents were both dead, so the Dragon King asked him to live temporarily in the Haishui River. The Dragon King never thought that his nephew's trouble would be caused by Sun Wukong, so he quickly asked Prince Moing to lead 500 dragon soldiers to capture the dragon. Then he had to arrange food and drinks to apologize to Wukong. Wukong was eager to save his master, so he said goodbye to the Dragon King and Prince Moing and left the West Sea together. Arriving at the Blackwater River, Prince Moing asked Wukong to wait on the bank. He led his dragon soldiers to set up camp in front of the Blackwater River Divine Mansion, and then sent troops to notify the little dragon. When Taolong found out, he felt strange. Why did his cousin come when he was obviously inviting his uncle? Just come. Why do you need to lead troops? The dragon was afraid that something might happen, so he led the little demon and came to the prince with a steel whip. Prince Mong advised him to release Tang Monk and Bajie quickly, but the demon not only refused to listen, but instead cursed the prince. The prince got angry and started fighting with the demon. The fish soldiers and shrimp generals on both sides also took action. A melee ensued until the sky was dark and the earth was dark. Seeing that he could not win, Prince Mong used a strategy to deliberately expose a flaw. Thinking that he had an opportunity, the demon duck got in. Mong suddenly turned around and knocked the demon turtle to the ground. The dragon soldiers rushed forward together, tied up the demon beast with 5 flowers, and escorted it to the shore. The prince asked Sun Wukong to punish the little dragon. For the sake of Aoshan and Prince Mong, Wukong spared the little dragon's life and asked Tang Seng and Bajie where they were being held. The little dragon said that they were still tied up in the Blackwater River, God's mansion. Sha Monk immediately went to the temple to rescue Master and Bajie under the leadership of the river god. After a while, the river god and Sha Seng carried Tang Seng and Bajie ashore, respectively. Prince Mong also escorted the little dragon back to the West Sea to meet the Dragon King. In order to thank Wukong for helping him take back the god's mansion, the river god cast a spell to block the water flowing upstream and create a road at the bottom of the riverbed. So, the 4 masters and disciples crossed the river and walked towards the west. Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.